All right, welcome back to another episode of The Underground. This is our second episode. If you want to see the premiere episode that we did, it's probably about a year ago. I think it was around this time a year ago. You can check it out via the link above. There's also a link down in the description. But this is going to be exciting, this episode here. We're actually in a new studio. Jack has been spending a lot of this past year putting a lot of time and money, his own time, because he's doing it all himself, and he has pretty much redone this entire studio that we filmed in last time, and you can see he has all of his collection, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you real quick some of the things that he has, and we'll be right back. And as you can see, he's put a lot of time and money into getting all this stuff together with the Star Wars and G.I. Joe collectibles. Oh, you're right. You were shrinking there. I thought something was wrong.
The money that left.
Yeah, I'm sure it's taken a lot of money. And he's also started his collection of the replica full-scale helmets from the series Mandalorian. And then you also have some Boba Fett ones as well. And we just saw some of those helmets. But where did you get those?
The Death Watch helmet I got from GameStop. It was a GameStop exclusive. And then the Mandalorian helmet I got from a website called Big Bad Toy Store. They have lots of different collectibles from around the globe, actually, and you can get lots of good stuff from there. And they've fast shipping and good prices, so can't beat them, and they always have stuff in stock. So.
And these are full detailed replicas, like as you saw with the Mando helmet, and maybe we can bring it in here later, if you don't mind. And he's got this display going on, which is really nice. When this is all done outside of the room that we're in now, the rest of the studio area out there is going to be really cool with vintage arcades and a lot more helmets. But what other helmets did you say that you had on order?
I have the Boba Fett helmet that is the repaint for the Mandalorian. I have the other Boba Fett helmet, which is the one that he first gets back from the Marshal.
Oh, where it's all scarred up.
And then I have Bo-Katan Kryze, her helmet is on order, and then I'm going to try to find a Sabine Wren helmet to go with it as well.
Cool. Yeah, so that'll be cool. Hopefully the next time that we're back here, you'll have all that in place. And you're working out there constantly, aren't you? So there will definitely be a lot of other progress made as well. And maybe we'll show a little bit about what's going on out there, even though it's still kind of under construction, but some things coming into place. But we're going to take a little commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
In honor of Black History Month, we'd like to recognize two iconic characters from the Star Wars universe, portrayed by two very iconic African-American actors. General Mando Calrissian, as portrayed by Billy D. Williams, and Greef Karga, as portrayed by Carl Weathers. Billy D. Williams has portrayed the role of Mando Calrissian for almost 40 years, starting with his appearance in The Empire Strikes Back, all the way up to the most recent of the sequels of the trilogy. Carl Weathers has portrayed Greef Karga in the series The Mandalorian. Carl Weathers has also been known for his roles in such movies as Rocky and in Predator. We would like to thank these gentlemen for their portrayal of these characters that have been key to driving the Star Wars universe. Thank you.
So we're coming out of the studio area where we were, and if you want to talk a little bit, Jack, what you have going on here, which will be, I mean, last time, if you saw the premiere, there was a pool table here. It was a completely different setup. We had the table and chairs this way, but I see that you've added a whole nother wall, redesigned it. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
All right, so last time you guys were here and tuned in to us, it had a angled wall along the back there, and we were sitting at a table in front of some posters. That angle wall is now gone. Wanted to expand it out to make myself a collection room for all of my stuff that I have. So built all this up and then decided I wanted to go with this Murphy door because I always wanted to kind of have that illusion of like a secret room. So it looks like a bookcase, and when it's shut, it looks pretty finished. Eventually what I'm going to do for this wall is do a faux stone. So what that looks like, it's a three-dimensional polystone, so it's super lightweight. You just basically glue it to the wall, and then when it's on, it kind of gives that nice finish to the edge, so that way, you know, it looks, you know, it'll just look like a bookcase that's roughed in and trimmed out, and that's what I want. And it'll still be able to open and close no problem, and it'd just be a nice accent wall. Probably still be able to like put stuff on there and, you know, decorate it appropriately. And then still have a workout area for my son. He likes to work out all the time, so that's what that is. That's where he likes to be, so I wanted to make sure he still had his spot. And then this wall is going to be various movie posters and music and TV shows, whatever we want it to be. Maybe some shelves for additional figures, because we have some random like Godzilla figures or figures from other movies like Predator and stuff like that. So we want to be able to display all of our collectibles and pictures and movies and stuff. And you know, one of the other features I wanted to put in when we built this was that I wanted to have like a ledge here. We had something similar in the house that we were renting a while back, and we grew to like having this as a, you know, good place to kind of lean, hang out, talk. You can put drinks on it because I sealed it with a polyurethane, so that way it doesn't, and you know, moisture won't mess up the wood or anything. So it makes a nice feature, which will come in handy when you're sitting in the chair that's going to be here waiting for your turn on the arcade. The idea is to put an arcade here. It's going to have a couple thousand games from days past on it that you can cycle through and kind of get that nostalgia. It's going to be a nice place for people to hang out, play, and, you know, have that old-timey competitive feel of the arcade fighting games and stuff. So looking forward to that. And then we have some other blank spaces that we might put some more artwork. Don't want to overcrowd it, but we definitely want to make it look like it's a good entertainment space for watching movies and playing video games and various things. And there's lots of other things I need to do. We're not just going to have a bungee chair here forever. Going to get new furniture, a new entertainment center, all those things. So yeah, really looking forward to keeping going with it. It's been a fun thing to do. It's a nice de-stressor. Some people would say that working on stuff maybe isn't de-stressing, but you know, after working all day, coming home and taking a couple hours to do something like this, it's good for the soul and the mind. So yeah, that's about it.
And you can see right there the vintage records and different things that's coming along here. And there's Jack with the Mando helmet. And that helmet is 100% scaled and detailed as the one in the show. Very cool. And then what about the inside of it? Now let me see here. There you can see the inside, very detailed. Very, very good replica. Oh, is there a button?
No, it's just that's like the best place to grip it for the weight. So because it's kind of even with where the handle would be. Anything else you might? Whoa! There you go.
All right, so we are back in here, and usually the way these episodes work, if this is your first time watching an Underground, and as we mentioned in the premiere episode, we did these years ago, back in the early 90s, I think 1990, 91, 92, way back before YouTube, social media, all that. It was VHS stuff, and we would pretty much just talk about whatever was going on, whether it be social things, political, movies, you name it. It was just an open forum, whatever. However, back then there was no political correctness, so we could kind of talk freely, where now there's a little bit of a muzzle. But just wanted to talk main thing right now because, as you can see, we're big Star Wars fans, Boba Fett fans, and Mando fans, and with the Mandalorian series that was out and the Book of Boba Fett, which just finished actually. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I know you haven't seen the last episode, so I'm not going to talk about the last episode. But what are your thoughts about that series so far?
So far, I don't. It's good, not as good as The Mandalorian, because I thought The Mandalorian definitely kept to a theme. Like, I thought that the Book of Boba Fett was going to be very much a singular theme of him taking over and focus just on that. The flashbacks and all were cool, but it got repetitive.
And they dragged on. Yeah, for like several episodes, he kept dreaming about back in the day when he was at Sand People, and I understand it was a backstory, and they're showing how he got out of this Sarlacc pit, all that, but I think it could have probably been condensed into maybe like one long episode or maybe two at the most, and then get down to business, which it dragged on longer.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like it's not bad. It's not a bad series. I mean, I think it's good. I mean, I've always been a big Boba Fett fan, even before it was popular, and it was kind of like just that. It was always like everyone's like, oh, he doesn't say anything. He's like a side character. Why does he get so important? I think it's just because he was so unique and he looked cool. I mean, it seems to be the typical thing with like most movies and TV and everything else. They always make the villains look the coolest.
Yeah.
And then people wonder why it's like, oh.
And then they're obsessed with the bad guy.
Right. And so it's like, I mean, the same thing with like any franchise, really, but.
Well, I remember, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I remember because I met Jeremy Bullock years ago. This was like maybe almost 30 years ago. I met him at a signing, and I remember he was talking about, somebody had asked him how he got the part of Boba Fett, and he said when he met George Lucas gave him the option to pick one of the bounty hunters that he wanted to be, and he leaned towards Boba Fett because he said looking at, I don't know if he saw the helmet or if he saw a sketch, but he said it just looked like somebody who had like an attitude, had some character, and it was a good pick because that wound up being the popular one.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people, when the prequels came out, and then they came up with this whole thing about a clone and everything else. You can take it for what it is. I mean, for somebody like myself who has read like a lot of the expanded universe stuff that Disney pretty much wrote off and said that that's considered legend. It's not canon. So basically anything that's in the comic books in regards to any of the Star Wars characters, and unless Disney gives its blessing, is not part of the universe. So some of that's a little hard to swallow sometimes because there's a lot more depth to the characters in the expanded universe. A lot of independent writers and people that came together, under Lucas's brand, had a lot of cool things as far as like, Boba Fett was more than a clone. He was, it was about being a descendant. It was about all these things. It was still his continuing interactions with Han Solo and Chewbacca. It was like, there's a whole thing to it. And then when that all kind of just got, hey, he's a clone, and there's a bunch of them that look like him, and it took a little bit away from it, and I guess this is a good attempt at trying to reel that back in, and still make him his own person, and get that character back up. But so I'm interested to see this last episode. I'm interested to see where it goes from here, and I think that's probably why I like The Mandalorian a little more, because it made me a Mandalorian fan. I mean, I already followed a lot of the lore of where Mandalorians came from, maybe from video games, from comic books. So having a character that didn't exist that carries that mantle, and you see some of the interactions he has, that's what made seasons 1 and seasons 2 of The Mandalorian so good, because it was different, and then so I'm kind of curious see where they go. I mean, there's going to be other series that come out. They're going to have an Ahsoka series. They're going to have an Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So kind of curious. I know that they take a lot of cues from the animated series like Rebels and Clone Wars. They kind of intermix some of that into it, which is fine. I never really watched all of them, but I've seen
I
some
haven't.
of them.
I've seen pieces of them because
Yeah.
somebody had recommended that. Actually, there's a girl that I know at work who actually gave me kind of a breakdown on how you're supposed to watch like the original series from the 70s and 80s and like all these new pieces with the animated and all this stuff. And this list was put in story order and not in
Right.
in movie order, but it followed how they're supposed to be watched to tell the whole story. And we started doing that, and actually we did. Like we watched like Solo, Rogue One, like kind of put all that together. But that was for the main story.
Right.
Like all these side stories. I mean, it's
Right.
It's probably gonna be like Marvel where they have all these branches coming off.
Sure. So curious. But I mean, I like it. I mean, I think that the shows have been better than the movies. I mean,
I agree.
At least the last two movies, especially.
Yep, I agree.
So.
And then Mandalorian season 3 should be coming out soon, right?
Yeah, I think they've already started dropping trailers for season 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So then I guess it's done being filmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be cool because I agree with you, Jack, that I became a fan of that too. And I think when Boba Fett started, because you're already used to how Mandalorian and those were very well written, a lot of action stuff, and then Boba Fett started, and then they are telling the story because they got to go back to Return of the Jedi and explain how he got out and all that stuff.
Right.
But I think people were expecting it to pick up quicker than it did because of Mandalorian, which I'm hoping season 2, now that they've told the story and they've got everything set up, that the next season will move a little bit quicker.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm going to watch it probably tomorrow or tonight, maybe.
Well, let me tell you what happens. No, I'm just trying. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I know we talked about this earlier, your thoughts on Marvel. Because I know Marvel, and my family follows the Marvel. I don't follow it as much, but they follow all that, and they watch them in order and all that. I watch them more for the special effects, cinematography, and action, and that's it. I don't really get into the story as much, but I know you've got your opinion on
Well, I mean, look, I put off watching Endgame forever because I think I was just burned out on the Marvel fandom. I remember when my son and his friends went to see Endgame, and he came back, and I was like, how about this? I said, if I can guess the entire plot, then you can tell me what the movie was and how close I was. And I pretty much beat for beat predicted what the movie was going to be because it was, I don't know. I think that sometimes you just run out of ideas, so you just like, okay, the only way you're bringing everybody back is time travel. We're gonna fix this, and we're gonna do this, But look, after watching it, it was done well. I thought it was entertaining.
well, meaning what as far as like the acting, cinematography?
Yeah, the acting, the cinematography, all that stuff. I mean, I'm glad they kept Captain Marvel to a minimum. Because that was, but it's like, it was predictable, and I was kind of like, okay, good, it's done. I'm done. Don't have to watch any more of these. Captain America's retired. He's hand off his shield, whatever. And then they came out with, let's watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision and Hawkeye and how about this Black Widow movie? And how about this? And then let's watch this. And how about some Eternals? And let's take some Shang-Chi. And how about some this? It's like, okay, I get it. Marvel, Disney, I get it. But I can't anymore. It's like, I never followed like all of the comic books as far as like Captain America and Iron Man. Like I never was like followed all of them verbatim. I had my own characters that I followed, like Venom and Spider-Man. Even the Spider-Man movies, it's like I saw Homecoming, and I thought that was good. Did not bother seeing Far From Home because I was like,
is that's the newest one?
No, that's No Way Home.
Okay.
Apparently home is the theme for Spider-Man. He's going home, homeless.
And he can't get there.
Yeah, apparently.
Because he's far from home, he's no way home.
He's no way
I
home,
saw
far
it,
from
and
home.
I thought it was actually very good. Now, I don't know the storyline as much. You might watch it and say it was off all over the place. I watched it like as watching a movie.
Yeah.
And my family and I, we thought it was really good.
And I think that that's a lot of it. It's like most. I mean, and look, if you watch it, that's the way you should watch it. It's like I'm just burned out with them. I just it's like certain things I find are just what's the word I'm looking for?
Annoying.
No, like rehashing, or like they're just riding off of the nostalgia. So hey, let's talk about this. Hey, let's bring in the old Spider-Man. Hey, let's bring in back Dr. Octopus. Oh, look, he's pretty cool. Let's bring back the Green Goblin. It's like he was cool too. It's like it's the same thing. So an example would be, you know, last year, my girlfriend and I decided, we were just going to have a Lord of the Rings movie marathon. So we watched. Sounds fun. So we watched all 3 of the extended versions of Lord of the Rings. So that's like 25 hours of Lord of the Rings, and then followed that up by watching all 3 of the extended versions of The Hobbit. And what I found watching those back to back were, watching The Hobbit, I realized how much of it was just riding off of the, hey, do you remember this from Lord of the, hey, do you remember? Hey, do you remember? Hey, how about that? You remember? We got one of those too. It's like, that's all it was. And it got to the point that we were just like, wow, this is not entertaining anymore. It's just like it's just constantly wanting to remind you what they did in Lord of the Rings. And when Lord of the Rings was, that was new, that was different, that was pretty cool. Nobody had ever done something quite that epic, and like these interactions, these things that happen. But then when you rehash them, repackage them, it's not the same. And I think that's some of the like the Marvel stuff. It's like it's
well, you can only take things so far before it starts to get stale. Like I know even like in movies in general, like they're remaking a lot of the classic movies from the '80s, and it's like, okay, you must be running out of ideas if you're having to get these. First of all, they're classics for a reason. You're not going to remake them.
Right.
Because they're already written and done, and they're hits.
Right.
Like come up with something new.
And there's certain things that you don't remake. It's like there's a reason that it's entertaining, and it may not have been because it was such a great story. It was just like typical 80s action schlock, like any Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It's like, that's great. And it's like, you watch it because you're not watching it to be moved emotionally or find the deep political or social meaning behind Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's like you're watching it because it's entertaining.
Yeah, and it's
But
Arnold.
now everything gets remade to find the deep social meaning of what did it really mean when Johnny kicked Danielson? Did it really mean that he hated that people? It's like no, it's just it's a movie. It's like that, but that's what happens. It's like everything's got to get turned into like this. It's got to be deep. No. It's like get to the chopper. That's all it is. It's like that's all it is. It's a bunch of guys with guns running around the woods. It's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a social commentary to like what's
like
going on
it's just entertainment
in Malaysia or something.
Yeah,
exactly. But certain things just be left alone. Especially when it comes to like you say, movies are running out of ideas. I guess that's why you get some of these like. It seems like there's a run on these like cheap scare 'em horror movies where it's like. Look, it's the possessed salt shaker. Possessed salt shaker. It's like, and then it has a sequel with the pepper shaker.
Yeah,
like,
and then the third was the Parmesan.
It's like, it's a guy from Olive Garden. He keeps asking you if you want more cheese, and you won't stop. I mean, it's like, I don't know. But hey, you can always count on Nicolas Cage to make good movies because he makes one like every 3 months.
Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
Gosh, him and Bruce Willis.
Nicolas Cage. We just saw his movie at the dollar store, Dollar Tree. He had a movie in there.
Yes, Vampires.
Yeah, he's even in there.
Which is
wow.
Which is supposed to be pretty epic.
We should have bought it. We could have done a review of it, and then you could have kept it, and you and Liz could have watched it, a marathon on that one. If you're ever in the Hanover, Pennsylvania area, you want to make sure that you stop by the Wareheim Myers Mansion as shown here. This is a very awesome historic mansion located in the downtown part of Hanover, Pennsylvania. And at certain times of the year, you can also take tours on the inside and see some of the cool features, which includes a bowling alley in the basement. And on the grounds itself, all year round, you can visit this part here and see the beautiful displays with this fountain and all the other items that are located at this historic property. And if you're in the area, you want to always make sure you visit A to Z Toys as shown here. This is a place that we've been visiting for the longest time. An awesome source for your vintage and new collectible toy needs, and the customer service there is amazing. Definitely a place you want to check out. Their inventory is impressive. Okay. All right, so talked about Mandalorian and Boba Fett and kind of some other things we want to talk about. I don't know if you want to talk anything about the political situation. I know that's kind of a touchy subject, especially now on social media. We obviously have our different views, but the country is not exactly in the best shape it's been in, which has kind of halted some projects I'm working on.
Yeah, old recession coming around.
Yeah. Material prices skyrocketing, and a dummy in the White House that doesn't know anything that I can think of, but and we're suffering for it. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see any like bright spots on the horizon.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's like just riding out the markets. I mean, everyone's.
That's why you kind of made this little cave, so you can just
come
in here and forget about it.
Yeah, next is going to be a panic room, I guess. It's like fill it full of SpaghettiOs and bottled water and hope for the best.
All locked in there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's so hard anymore, especially like, you know, sometimes it's like you just stay focused on your day to day because you really can't, you can't predict what's going to happen next, what fool's going to do what, or what, the constant feeling like you're being distracted from something, like, oh, hey, look over here while we're doing this. And
look, I don't even watch the news or anything. People try to tell me about the news. I don't want to hear it. I have this stuff I'm working on with my projects and cars, and I'm getting ready to do some work in my house, but material prices are kind of high. I know you've got your thing going on here, and I just focus on myself and just don't even look at it. It's such a mess out there.
I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of the materials I used, like on the outside wall, you could see that it was kind of roughed up, and like some of the stuff in here, it's all recycled. I cut down costs. Like this used to be the ceiling that was out there.
Oh, wait, that was the white ceiling?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that looks
Painted it gray. Painted that gray. I mean, I tried to recycle as much of the timber and everything as I could because of that reason. And, you know, I was fortunate that, you know, it seems like some of the prices come down more in my area than they do.
Yeah, Delaware is very high, which is odd because in the past, Delaware used to be cheaper.
But I mean, that goes for like, you know, and then you talk about all the issues. So like, even from a collector's standpoint, like myself, it's like, you know, I'm feeling that just from the sense of like, you know, you want to continue to collect, you want to get stuff, you want to, you know, there used to be a time like we can remember that, you know, that was the whole fun of being a kid, was like the hunt. You know, you're going into the store and it's like, oh, there's the shelves and they're full and look at all these toys. And even when my son was younger, it felt that way. Like, oh, you could go into a store.
But you also had Toys R Us and stuff.
Yeah, you had Toys R Us. But even after, like, you know, even after Toys R Us was gone, I mean, you could still walk into like a Target or a Walmart and at least they had stuff on the shelves. Like now, you're lucky if you can find one thing, unless it's some generic nonsense or whatever. It's like certain things, you know, I don't know where they get them from. I mean, some things I can tell you that I've pre-ordered, you know, they'll release it and it's like, oh, it's a pre-order. So you pre-order it ahead of time. It doesn't come out for like a month. Okay, that's reasonable. But then you start, okay, we have to push it back. Oh, because of supply chain issues, we push it back. I can tell you one of the biggest things I saw was with Hasbro. So Hasbro did an event not too long ago. They do like a lot of live streams where they reveal products and stuff like that. And for a while it was like, hey, here's the product. Here's what it's going to look like. You know, this will be coming soon. And then that changed to, hey, here's the product. We can't let you pre-order it yet. We're still working on supply chain issues, but here's what it's going to look like. Then, just recently, it was like, hey, here's some drawings of what this is going to look like. Oh, and we've done some pretty cool computer animated artwork of what you might see. And we'll let you know as soon as it actually comes out. It's like, so companies like Hasbro are trying to keep you interested. They're trying to keep you excited about something like, oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, but they have nothing to show.
Right, but they have nothing to show. And, look, it's like, maybe it's not their fault, but look, everything in this room, whether it's from the 80s or from now, it all says made in China. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's like everything is so, yeah, when we talk about the supply chain issues and everything else, it's like, well, maybe if here.
Yeah, we wouldn't have this issue instead of relying on other people.
But beyond
that would be like
maybe,
you saying there's dinner, but you're relying on your neighbor to feed you.
Right, or but okay, but even if we want to put that aside, let's put that whole thing aside. The reason we can't get anything that imported is because, there's all these mandates and, we're short on truckers and we're short on labor because, I think some of the statistics, from last year were like 47 million people decided to change their jobs or quit their jobs because, maybe a lot of them realized after 2020 that the big corporations and companies they worked for were so easy to be like, oh, sorry, bye, and then let them go because they were trying to keep the company alive, which I get it. If I was a small business owner and if I had to make decisions, maybe I would. People don't look at corporations quite that way for good reason. But, we need to get things rolling. We need to
I agree.
Stop, put all this stuff aside. Look, we just gotta just move forward. Forward.
No, I agree. It's I'm kind of looking for the light at the end of the tunnel myself, just for stuff I'm working on. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody's feeling it from either the rising gas prices, the material shortages because of supply issues, or when they do come in, the rise in prices of material. All that. Because I know where I work, we're seeing that a lot. I mean, sometimes vendors will give you a quote. It's only good for maybe a week because the material is going up constantly. So it's crazy.
Yep.
Crazy stuff.
But I guess like the old saying goes, "This too shall pass, one way or another." Maybe maybe the way we want it to. Maybe the way we're not expecting. But one way or another, everything.
The sooner the better, whichever way it is.
Every beginning has an end.
Yeah.
Just depends on what end that is.
Exactly. Okay, well, I think this pretty much wraps it up. Did you want to say anything before we close?
Nope. It sounds like my son and his girlfriend are back home. I can hear the yelling upstairs. So we will say sayonara, and we'll see you next time, maybe in the garage.
Yeah, maybe we'll be where I live. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please send any questions, comments. We appreciate all the support. And please remember to send any comments in, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. We'll see you next time.